So I wanted to do something a little special this week, something that speaks to me and as tells you why I kind of started doing video content, and in general, it's more of a nostalgia trip. And there's an announcement at the end of this video that if you want to skip ahead to go right ahead, I don't have a problem with it. So back in 2011, beginning of the year, I was still in high school, junior year, just ending junior year, and I had met this girl who really spoke to me. She really, well, I can't say spoke to me. She's a person, of course she's gonna speak to me, but it turned out to be that I had developed some feelings for her because we were legitimately just hitting off very well. And at first I thought of it like, yeah, she's friendly, but it later became something more and more that I was falling for her. I had a crush. Throughout that entire latter half of junior year, I learned she was already dating someone, and thus I was not determined to leave that way. I was determined, okay, well, if I was going to, be around, I wanted to be her friend, essentially. Get close in that way, and because I wanted her in my life regardless of whether she was a friend or a lover, essentially. And at that point, I had already given up on the lover part, so, friend. Throughout the summer, her and I talked a little bit, not much, but come senior year, she actually started talking to me a lot more, and we had back and forth conversations throughout the month of August and into September, and everything started to really show that the more we talked, the more we realized we had in common, the more we enjoyed talking to each other. It wasn't just me going towards her, it wasn't her just going towards me. We were constantly just every day after school talking, and that was special. I started to learn more about her. I started to actually develop more of my feelings, and lo and behold, she tells me that the relationship she had with her previous boyfriend was not really a relationship at all, more of a friendship that, like, it just turned out he wasn't really there at all. So they talked it out. I mean, I obviously didn't make any advances, but they talked it out. And then at the end of that whole spiel, ended up leaving him, and it was a mutual thing, so I obviously, now for clarification, I didn't ever said anything. I always went and told her that she should try and fix her current relationship, see if she's anything she could do. I never pushed her away from it. She did that on her own. And maybe, I guarantee you, I had something to do with it. There's no way. I probably showed her something that could show in a relationship without, like, attention, essentially. A month later, September 14th, I asked her out and got a response of a yes. And I was incredibly excited. At this point, I wasn't sure how it would work out, but we had a few dates. We had definitely some very good positive reactions towards each other, and eventually in November we pretty much were in love at that point. But what about November of 2011 rings a bell? Oh, that's right, Skyward Sword. And the weird part about this, I know I've gone into this in the Let's Play itself, but outside of the video series, I haven't done it. And Skyward Sword, for those who haven't played it, I won't spoil anything aside from the fact that Link and Zelda appear to be much closer. And it's teased that it's a relationship almost. Which is... You can't imagine my surprise when I saw that, considering the fact that I had really just started loving the girl I had started dating a few months before. And I kept telling myself that it's young love. Like, I need to take my time, I need to be patient. And then this happens, and I'm like dumbstruck. And I pointed it out to her. She also had the game, and while she didn't play it much, she saw that portion. And it was something I laugh at anyway. She kind of just goes along with it, I imagine. But it dawned on me that when she wasn't really able to play Skyward Sword because she didn't grow up as a gamer like I did. I've been playing since the age of 3, and she's like been more around books and more around that kind of culture, TV. And so she, when YouTube was more of a thing, watched Let's Plays of content in like 2009, 2011, 10, 11. And it's about that point that I realized I have so many games I want to share, but we don't live together. So I thought of, what if I did videos? I ended up falling more in love with the content. Like, I ended up watching more Chuck Conroy, more Josh Jepson, and I was at that point really enjoying the content because it was a way to share and express your feelings towards video games live not live, but like as a live commentary. And just as the game's going forward, you're expressing everything you feel about the game without a script. And don't worry, I imagined myself doing scripted content as well, but I wanted to get my feet wet first. And so at the beginning of 2012, I apologize. At the beginning of 2012, I started doing Let's Play content. And I started off by testing the waters by purchasing fraps and going into Half-Life 2. I wanted to test the waters. My computer at that point was garbage, but I ended up doing all right. And it went for like 5 or 6 episodes before I was like, I really enjoy doing this. But Half-Life 2 was causing a lot of problems. Mainly because doing a first-person shooter where you're having a lower frame rate is a problem. So I ended up, and I didn't want the game to look like crap, so I moved on. It was at that point I wanted to really just go through one game completely, finish it off, and see what I felt about doing Let's Plays from there. So it was at that point that I ended up teaming up with a friend of mine who doesn't do content anymore but used to, and helped get me started. He was a friend of mine, and I can link the video in the description below if you really want to look at it. It was a Let's Play of Portal 2.
Hi guys, I am Darkest Triforce, and welcome to my newest Let's Play, a co-op of Portal 2 with my good IRL friend, Chaos Heart 13!
It's 15, you dunce!
Stop!
I worked so hard on that. And now, my life is just over. It's over!
And this was in our senior year, and we did the co-op, and it's cheesy, it's stupid, and it was a lot of fun to do. We went through it. You can hear the stupidity of us failing at puzzles, the stupidity of me trying to fake a British accent because I thought it was funny and somewhat cool, because at that point I didn't know what I was. But in the middle of that Let's Play, I still wanted to do something for myself, something where I didn't have any help. And it was at that point that I'm announcing the project to come after The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap, which would be done within the next month. Well, it'll be done in June. Was Batman Arkham Asylum. I did it blind. Never played the game past the tutorial because I could never get into the PS3, but I ended up finding a copy for Steam, and I did the PC version with a laggy computer all the way through. And I 100%ed it on my own time, but I beat the main story enjoyed it, ended up 100%ing it on my own for the most part. I think like maybe I missed 1 or 2 riddles, but I had a lot of fun. And when I had a lot of fun, I realized I was also sharing the game with my girlfriend. She enjoyed listening to the tapes and seeing the game unfold. I found a few other people who enjoyed it. And at that point, I wasn't Chaotic Reunion, I was Chaos Art 15, in which I did some stupid stuff. I ended up getting some copyright stuff, legitimate this time, like not... I ended up taking other people's music without permission and got credit for it. And when I tried to backpedal and say it wasn't my music, I was already getting a ton of shit for it. So I ended up getting rid of the channel and lying, telling people that it was deleted due to copyright claims. And that was wrong of me to do, completely. But I made Chaotic Reunion in the latter half of 2012 in September. And I did the first project of Chaotic Reunion, which was The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Master Quest blind, as I had never done Master Quest, which was fun. I enjoyed the ever-living crap out of that. We ended up doing Ocarina of Time, and then I moved on straight onto Majora's Mask, which Majora's Mask was a disgusting mess. Because, again, I didn't have my personality just yet. I didn't have what I wanted to be out of the channel. Into 2013, I had done Pikmin, Paper Mario, and what else did I do? I had tried Skyward Sword, starting it up multiple times with a Dazzle capture card and like stuff like that. Never came out right. Frames were dropping left and right, and I was upset with that. I didn't want Skyward Sword to be that project that looked bad. But I was going forward, I had done those games, and then December rolled around and I was ready to... I had gotten an HD PVR, which is what I'm currently using still. And I had started Skyward Sword going into 2014. The problem with that was I was having a falling out with a friend, an old friend online who didn't... We had a falling out. The problem with this old friend was they had access to my YouTube credentials, and I didn't realize it at the time because I was focused on trying to save a friendship. And as a final act of revenge, they deleted my content. I didn't have any of it saved, none of the videos on my computer. It was all on YouTube, and it was utterly upsetting. Lo and behold, I mean, what can you do sometimes? But it was still heartbreaking almost to see my channel go to nothing when it had over 300 videos, 400 videos done. And while they weren't my proudest videos, they certainly were something. It was a starting point. Now people come to the channel and see somewhat professionalism, much more clear audio, much better video quality, and it looks like that's how I started, but it's not. And while I don't want to go back and do my old content again in the same quality, I want to go back and do those projects again. So you can imagine all of the video games I've stated so far on this little nostalgia trip for me are going to happen again. And they're going to happen one after the other. We're going to go in order. So let me rephrase this and do the full-on shebang here. We're going to do Minish Cap, and we're going to complete that. We're going to do, after Minish Cap, we're going to go to Batman Arkham Asylum for Steam, and we're going to play through that. We're going to enjoy that. Afterwards, The Witcher should be coming near a close at that point, hopefully, if it runs long. After The Witcher, I want to do and go back and finish Banjo and finish off that project. The reason that one stopped was because of my Xbox 360 going upstairs, and I didn't really ever get the chance to plug that back in and record it because it was giving us problems. And then after Banjo, Eternal Sonata will come in, because Banjo won't take very long at all. It's near the end of the game. Banjo finishes and we'll go into Eternal Sonata, and we will let that take its slot and be played through for quite some time. I imagine it's a long RPG. After Batman, hopefully things are much more stable and I can afford a 3DS capture card. Because if I can afford a 3DS capture card, I would love to play Ocarina of Time 3D. I want to get that game out and done and play through that and Majora's Mask 3D. I want to do the newest versions because they're new, obviously. And I just want to share them. Problem is I don't have a way to do it now. And if I can't do Ocarina of Time 3D at that point, and I still want to do video content, of course, I'll find something else to do, but it'll happen. And that's the general gist of the schedule. Obviously, there are going to be Casual Friday will take up streaming I want to do, so things will pop up here and there that are not a part of that set schedule that I just mentioned. But I want to recover from something that I keep having, and that's bouts of emptiness. The channel continues to suffer under the fact that my life isn't exactly all video games as much as I would love it to be. It's not. Responsibilities come first, and all these surgeries came up, and every time I get a consistency going, something happens that stops me. And I want that to stop. I want to prepare, and I want to make sure that the same level of quality is portrayed at more consistent rates. Like, I could have done Skyward Sword in the easiest amount of time, and I always stop. Like, Skyward Sword, if we remember, started in January of 2014 and ended in August of 2014. It's not that long of a game. It only had 80-some parts. 82 parts, I think. And the reason being is because at that point, life was tough. College was treating me weird. And I was making sure that I was motivated when I recorded those. I made sure none of them came out terribly, and some of them were post-commentated because I ended up just finding parts where it was okay to be post-commentary, finding parts that were able to have no commentary whenever audio glitched, or I wasn't motivated or the commentary was bad. But otherwise, I wanted to make sure it was always something unique and something that was good to watch. So, that being said, I did Jack and Daxter, and even that suffered. Jack and Daxter started in May and ended in October, I think. And that's the same thing. I didn't want it to come out like crap. And I did other projects in the middle. I kept going to different projects to try and reinvigorate, and just ended up realizing that I've been starting a project, and not finishing them. They need to be finished. And I guess that speaks for my life sometimes. Anyway, enough of this sappiness. You got some video announcements, you got my plan for going forward, and in general, you know how I started doing content. Obviously, I kept some details out because personal life. I've been AVA of Chaotic Reunion. I hope this Monday video suffices. Tomorrow, we will have something different.